Okay, just want to say welcome to my channel. This is Decaying Morals. I am Decaying Moral, and I want to really give an introduction about what this channel is supposed to be about. I'm really going to tackle the subject of morality in society, mainly North America, Canada, the U.S., where I spend, majority of my time and where I've grown up. I really want to give a background on I really want to give background on who I am. I am a Christian man that used to be an atheist and am no longer. I've been probably a Christian for about 7 years. Not interested in giving too much details about myself. I prefer to be anonymous as much as possible, but just give my insight on what I think is wrong with the world and what I think is right sometimes. But that's very little these days. There's a lot of cool things that are happening in the world, such as the rise of technology, and I think that is really making the world crazy. The way we spread information, there's a lot of crazily good things I think are awesome today. With that being said, let's jump into the first subject of my channel, polyamory. For those of you who don't know what polyamory is, I will give you a definition. Polyamory. Noun. 1. The practice or condition of participating simultaneously in more than one serious romantic or sexual relationship with the knowledge and consent of all partners. Alright, basically, you get to have sex with everybody, and as long as they know, you're in the right. I don't know if any of you have read Brave New World, but in Brave New World, from what I can remember, and it's been a while, it's a society in which everybody sleeps with everybody, and everybody does drugs to stay happy. And if you fall in love, you become this social outcast or pariah, I think, as the main character happens. But it's been a while since I've read the book. But anyway, if I have to describe where I live in Canada, the society as I see it today is Brave New World. Now, for those of you who don't know, Aldous Huxley wrote Brave New World, George Orwell wrote 1984, and the way they both saw the future was different, but they both saw tyrannical governments taking control. 1984, George Orwell predicted that people would be forced to serve, and that definitely happens in certain third world countries, but in the first world countries it's a little different. I think it follows more Aldous Huxley view of how people will want to serve. Rather than being forced to, they love their servitude. They don't know that they're slaves to the system. They actually just go along with it. And especially where I live in Canada, Toronto and Vancouver, there is a lot of people who, they're always on drugs. They're always trying to get away. They're always afraid of commitment. I mean, marriage here, at least in Vancouver, where I am right now, it's pretty bad. There are people who they don't see any hope in marriage. They don't see the point in having a family. And polyamory is on the rise here. I've never seen a city that it's so prevalent and everybody is okay with it. Everybody seems to be doing it more and more, and they seem to think it's tenable. I don't believe that this is sustainable going forward. But I want to give a story about a polyamory situation that I was in. I didn't participate in polyamory. I obviously have friends here, gay, straight, transgender, whatever. And I went out with a friend who invited me out. She told me she was seeing this girl. This girl happened to also be seeing a guy. And we all went out together. So I'm with my friend, her girlfriend, and her girlfriend's boyfriend. And it happens to be her girlfriend's boyfriend's birthday. If you are following it, I know it gets a little confusing, but try to follow. As we're going on through the night, because in polyamory they have a ranking system, so you can be the first, second, or third while you're with somebody, and as long as they're honest with you, basically saying, hey, you're my third favorite, that's okay. And if you're okay with it, you continue fucking each other. And yeah, it's a little weird. I don't even know how someone would value themselves if they were told they were third place to someone, mainly because, and I'll touch on the subject of sex very quickly. My mom used to say this, and I know talking about sex and your mom talking about it to you is kind of weird, but she said something that did resonate with me. She said when you sleep with somebody, it's like giving a part of your soul away to them. And if you continue to sleep with multiple people over and over and over and over and over, you will start to find that it becomes very empty and very vacuous until you have no soul left to give. Until the actual act of intimacy doesn't mean anything to you. It's just physical pleasure. And that is what polyamory is doing to people. It's sucking the soul out of them to a point where they don't really understand what love is anymore. They think they're in love with whatever they're happening. I think one girl described it to me as, who are you to tell me I can't love more than one person? And this will touch on the subject of love. What is love? What is it? And maybe I'll come back to that at the end to figure out how we define this. But just back to the story. So I'm with my friend, her girlfriend's girlfriend. No, sorry. I'm with my friend, her girlfriend, and her girlfriend's boyfriend. Happens to be her girlfriend's boyfriend's birthday. As we're going on through the night, I noticed that my friend's girlfriend is kissing the dude. Now, as they're kissing, my friend, whose girlfriend is kissing another dude, seems to look very uncomfortable. She's not looking at them. She quickly turns her head. It gets very, very awkward and weird and cringy. Later on in the night, I notice everybody's on their phone. They're texting. And the subject of like skinny guys shows up, and my friend's girlfriend says, "I love skinny guys. I'm dating so many of them." Right in front of the table, in front of her girlfriend and her boyfriend. The boyfriend's on his phone, and all of a sudden he just goes, "What?" And it got very quiet, very tense, and very uncomfortable. And then she said, "Yeah, I'm seeing 3, 4 skinny guys. I really enjoy them." And then the subject was just dropped. As my friend and I started to leave, I had to ask her, what the hell did I just see? What was I just a part of? She said that's how polyamory works. Everybody's open and honest with each other. That's how this is done. They have to be open and honest. And so she was doing the right thing. I was like, yeah, but you could tell the guy was jealous. And my friend looks at me and she says, that guy's married, right? And I was like, what? That dude's married and it's his birthday and he's not spending it with his wife, he's spending it with us? And my friend's like, yeah, he's married with 2 kids. And I was like, what? He's spending his birthday with me, my friend's girlfriend, which is also his girlfriend. I mean, this is absurd. This is absurd. Is this where our society's going now? Is polyamory taken over completely here? No. But is it on the rise? Yes. Yes, more and more people are finding it that it's natural not to be with one person for the rest of your life, which is bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. It's natural and it's unnatural, all right? Inside us, we have some kind of moral code that says certain things are right and certain things are wrong, all right? And I know that guy has 2 kids, and I think he's going to look back on his life and he's going to wonder, oh my God, my 2 kids, well, I spent my birthday with my mistress and my mistress's girlfriend and my mistress's girlfriend's friend. What the fuck was I doing? I think when it's all said and done and it flashes before his eyes, I think somehow he'll be grounded in that. Do I know what his marital status is like? Do I know what his relationship with his kids like? I don't know. But I'm fair to say it can't be that great. I mean, it's your birthday and you don't want to spend it with your kids. You want to spend it with me, who I just happen to meet you. But you want to spend with your mistress and her girlfriend? I mean, what is that? What is that? You know what I mean? This is obviously a guy who has a lot of issues, and you could tell, can't even talk about what he's really feeling. I could feel the awkwardness when his girlfriend said she's dating multiple guys. He got jealous. It is untenable to believe that you can be with someone and not be jealous. You cannot care about somebody and have sex with them. That's possible. But it's impossible for it to last because sex in its nature is a bonding experience. It is an experience in which you share your soul with an individual, where they get to feel you without understanding how to explain it. There are no words to explain what love really is. I think a lot of us know that. I think we want to try, but it's not possible. And when you see something that you really, really love, and you can't really voice it, which I think was what polyamory is. You're supposed to be open and honest, but I mean, how do you be open and honest when you're obviously jealous? That's where I think it's untenable, and where I really want to touch on the last thing, the subject of love. Love in its essence, I think, is possessive. And I don't think possessive is necessarily a bad thing. When you love your children, they're your children. When you love your wife, it's your wife. If you saw someone walking down the street holding your wife's hand, you should be jealous. And jealousy in that circumstance is right and righteous, if you want to, put that on it. There's nothing wrong in that sense of being jealous, because you love that person, and that's an experience where you share with nobody else other than them, and that's where they get to see that part of you, and you get to see that part of them, and you don't mess around with that. We're losing this ability to really, really touch one another, and realize it's only meant for the ones we love. The really intimate touching with man and woman, whatever. If you got a dude and girl, but at least be intimate. Um, you know, I think I'm getting really scared with where we're going. The future generation. If this is what we're gonna tell kids, that they can just sleep around with anybody, I think we're going to head towards Brave New World. I think the rise of drugs and opioids and painkillers and all this stuff, it's on the rise. People want to run away from sadness. They don't want to be hurt. They don't want someone to leave them, you know? And it's better to just have multiple partners than commit. We want to enjoy the fruits of love without ever committing to it. And that's a really sad thing. Love deserves work. It deserves commitment. It deserves your obligation. And that's the only way I can imagine anybody really being happy. But if we continue to walk down this road, I think we're going to have a lot of sad people. I don't think those people in the polyamory, just from hanging out with them, it was awkward. As it stands, my friend now, not even with that girl anymore. Every polyamory situation I've come across that I've seen has ended horribly. It's sad that people think it's a tenable situation. It is not. It is not tenable. You need to realize that sex and love are meant to be two components of one another. They're not meant to be separated. Yes, you can just have sex. Yes, it can just feel good. And yes, you might think you walked away and you didn't hurt anybody and they didn't hurt you. But really, if they didn't hurt you and you didn't hurt them, did they ever really mean anything? I mean, what were they? And that's the sad part. You devalue a human being, or you at least don't see them as valuable. And I think with polyamory being on the rise, at least in Canada, it's coming up. I'm getting really worried about where this country's going. And I think hopefully we can get back to talking about the subject of love, hearing different definitions, because everybody's got one. But for me, just to sum it up, if I didn't say it before, love is possessive. Love is jealous. And in the right way. There are times where you can be jealous for no reason. I'm not talking about that. But I just really believe you've got to commit fully. And the most happiest relationships are the ones I know that lasted the longest. I'm not saying they were perfect. I'm not saying they didn't have their problems. But they worked together. They built something. There are obviously unsuccessful marriages. There are marriages where husbands don't try and wives don't try. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about where people put in the effort and they fight. Because that's what love is. It's a fight. It's a fight to keep it. Happiness is not a constant. Anger is not a constant. Sadness is not a constant. And love is not a constant. The feelings are not a constant. But what can be are the actions. Love to me, if I could define it just on this last note, is when you really, 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 really hate that person, and you just can't stand them and they annoy the shit out of you. But you wake up in the morning, you see their face, you hold them, and you kiss them. And you say, you know what, let's do it again. And you do the same thing over and over again until it's all over. Because love isn't just the good times. You know? It's about fighting. It's about really trying to make it through the bad times. Because it's going to be bad times. And today we live in a society where feelings trump everything else. They trump the sense of duty. You know, if you don't feel like doing something, you just don't. If you feel like you don't want to be with this person anymore, you just don't. And there's sometimes there's real reasons to break up, but most of the time people are just breaking up because they lost the feeling. I'd question whether they really had a feeling. Again, they're not constants. You gotta look at what the person's putting in. You gotta look at what you're putting in. And you gotta try to grow and build. Anyway, that's gonna do it for my first episode of Decaying Morals. I'm Decaying Moral, and if you like this channel, please subscribe, like the video, share. I'm going to keep doing more stuff like this, especially movie reviews, music reviews. I'm going to try to keep it up as much as possible. And I wish you guys all well. Thanks for listening.